Every developer commits their code. If you are using version control systems like Git, then chances are you've committed your code multiple times, uncountable times actually, but GitHub does the counting for you, by the way. But here is the real question. Are your commit messages properly written? Are they actually helpful? Or do you just treat them like a formality? Something you just have to do, put whatever it is you want there. Commit messages are not just a checkbox. They are your chance to communicate the change that you have made in your code and to save your team and yourself from any future headache. In this video, I'm breaking down how to write commit messages like a senior developer. Clear, professional, useful, future-proof, and straight-up impressive. Let's go. Commit messages are vital for maintaining a clear, organized history in version control systems like Git. And if you don't know what Git is a tool that helps developers manage and track changes in their code over time. While commit message explain the purpose of each change that developers make. So if you want to make a change to your code and push it to GitHub, you need a commit message. Why do commit messages matter? And why are they important? Number one, communication and documentation. A good commit message explains what was changed, why it was changed, and how it was done. So if you make a change to a code, you need to answer those 3 questions with your commit message to help others and your future self understand the purpose of the change without necessarily having to scroll through all of the code. Number 2, traceability. Commit messages allow developers to track specific changes and understand the history behind them. So if you are trying to figure out when a code was modified or when it was added, then a commit message can help you trace that. Number 3, debugging. When something breaks in your code, a clear commit message will help you identify when and why the problem was introduced. For example, if you have had newer features and an older feature breaks and it took you so long to discover, you can use a commit message to debug. Trace it way back to know when that problem happened. Number 4, collaboration. And this one is very important. In team projects where multiple developers are working together, commit messages serve as a shared record that help new or existing team members quickly grasp what has been done and what's left to do. Now, the anatomy of a commit message. What does a commit message consist of? A professional commit message will typically consist of 3 parts: the title, the body, and an optional footer. The body is also optional, by the way. The title is mandatory. You must write it. It is the first line of your commit message and it serves as the summary of whatever change you've made in your code. It is very essential because it is the only visible part in a commit log. What are the characteristics of a good commit message title? It must be concise. Keep it at 50 words or fewer, 50 characters rather, or fewer. Use the imperative mode. That is, write the title as if you are giving a command. So that means you'll be using present tense. So you will use add, not added. Fix, not fixed. That will fit into this statement. If applied, this commit message will fix layout bug in the header. If applied, this commit message will, if your commit message is add search functionality to the navbar, that's correct. But if you write adding, no, that's incorrect. Then we have the body. The body is an optional part of your commit message, so you can put it. The body provides additional context for the change. It explains why the change was made and if necessary, how the change was implemented. So we use the body when the title alone is not sufficient enough to capture the change purpose or details. Key point for writing the body. Number 1, wrap text at 72 characters for readability. Explain the reason behind the change, that is the why. Mention any trade-off or limitation. Provide additional detail. For example, this is an example of a commit message body. The drop-down menu on the navigation was not closing when clicking outside. This was caused by an event listener issue. I added an event listener to the document to close the drop-down when clicking outside the menu area. So that's a sample. There is way more context in the body. And now the optional footer, which is always in the same place where the body is, by the way. Footers are used to include metadata or references to issue tracker. So if you're working with a team, you're using GitHub, you're using Jira, then you might want to include a filter in your commitment. So common uses of filter, you can use them to link to issues or tickets. This is an example of a filter: fixes ticket 123 or issue 123. Another example is breaking change. So if the commit that you are making introduces a breaking change, then you have to mention it explicitly in the filter. For example, breaking change, updated login endpoint now requires a client ID parameter. Ensure all clients include this parameter in their request. So that will be included in the filter. Now let's go through some examples of great commit messages. Look at this. Fit auth, add multi-factor authentication, and then the body added support for multi-factor authentication to the user login process. This improves account security by requiring users to verify their identity through a secondary device, and the footer closes issue 245. Let's look at another example. For example, this one is meant for updating docs. So docs readme, update installation steps for Windows user. We have the body and then we have the footer. An example, next, this one is a refactor, is a commit that is declaring a refactor change. So refactor card simplify item quantity update logic. So we have the footer and we also we have the body and the footer rather. Mind you, don't forget that the body and the footer are optional parts. The main part is the title. And we have a whole list of types of commit messages. You are probably not doing the same thing all the time in your code. Sometimes you update documentation, sometimes you add a new feature, sometimes you fix a bug. So we have different types of commit messages depending on what you're doing, what change you made. For example, we have fix when you're introducing a new feature, then fix for fixing a bug, then docs for documentation updates, style for code style changes, refactor, that is if your change structured the code, but there was no change in functionality. We have texture, build, CI path, which is performance, revert, config, a security change, design change, hotfix, and WIP, work in progress. We also have localization. I'm going to just put all of this in a document and just put it in the description box. If you're struggling with structure and you need a template for writing your commit message, here are some templates you can use. We have the basic template. So just give a short summary of the change. In the body, why was the change necessary? How did this change solve the problem? Blah. This is another template for this bug fixes. So fix, the description of the bug, explanation of what caused the bug, how you fixed it, then link to the issue or PR if applicable. We also have for features, for refactoring, for performance. I'm also going to be adding the templates to a document as well. Now, what are the best practices and common mistakes while writing commit messages? Number one, avoid being vague. Provide a clear description of the change. Don't say fix stuff. Instead, say fix null pointer exception in user login. Number two, include the reason for the change. Explain why the change was necessary. Don't say update CSS. Say update CSS for better mobile responsiveness. Number three, keep your commits atomic. That is, make sure each commit focus on one single logical change. Don't combine things together. Don't do fix login bug and add logout functionality. That's wrong. Do fix login bug, then another commit message for add logout functionality. Proofread your message. That's number four. Ensure it is free from any form of typos and make sure it clearly conveys the intended meaning. This is wrong, while this is right. Another thing, number five, provide context. Offer enough detail to understand the change without additional explanation. Optimize API. Wrong. Optimize API response time by reducing database queries. Correct. Number six, use consistent formatting. This commit message is wrong. This fix navbar, resolve dropdown or closing, then followed by fix navbar, add search functionality. That is correct. Number seven, avoid mixing types. Don't mix unrelated changes in one single commit. This is wrong. Update dependencies and fix login bug. Wrong. It should be char dependencies, update package version, followed by fix login, resolved bug with password validation. That's correct. And finally, are there tools that can help you write your commit messages properly? Yes. We have pre-commit hooks. You can use tools like CommitLint, to enforce message rules. And you can have templates. So yourself, you can create a template for yourself. And like I said, I'm going to be linking those templates below as well. Also, code reviews can also help you write better commit message. If you work with a manager or a senior developer, you can get feedback from them about your commit messages during review. And that's about it. I hope you found this video helpful. Like, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any question, please drop it in the comment section. Turn on notification for more videos like this. See you in my next video.